Okay, good. So now it seems no, we still need one more person. Guys, let's start, and I will copy the link to the game to the chat. So if you can, so please join during the game. And let's see who knows most of all about the final lessons in this semester. Again, so if you don't know the answer, just try to think. Uh-huh. So most people say no, and two people think yes. So actually, you can take a substitution, but if you so if it is something very serious, very important, you can't change it. So that's about health or something. But guys, you need to tell about it in advance. And we have a rule that if a teacher needs a substitution for lessons 29 and 30, he or she needs to find this substitution him or herself. But ideally, so we want to be with our students because that's important for them to feel your support. So please be there on lessons 29 and 30 with your students. Nastya, winning so far. Interesting. Yeah, all parts of the test are completed in the lesson. Okay, here a hint, you can compare it with the skills test. So that's similar to skills test in format. For the online part, so that's 30. So the same for skills test. So guys, how many points in total can our students get for each test?
50.
50.
So if it's a short test, then all 50 points they get from by doing the online part of the test only. If that's a skills test or a final test, then they get 30 points for the online part maximum, plus 20 points for speaking and writing. So 50 overall. Nastya, good job. You have never had final lessons and final tests in country, but you know the answer. Oh, this one is really challenging. Okay, no, not for 40 would be too much. No, 20, it means that how many points for speaking?
10.
And for writing?
Also 10.
So then in total 20. Oh, this is an interesting question. So please read it attentively. Who were absent during lesson 29? So only one answer, yes. Yes, guys, that's a very important thing. So we give marks for writing and speaking for the final test. That's only for the final test. But we give marks for speaking and writing to all students in our groups. It doesn't matter if they were present in the lesson or if they were absent, because if you don't put this mark, then their chances to get enough points to complete the course successfully will decrease dramatically. That's because of the system of calculations. Guys, if the student was absent during lesson 29, then just remember how he or she worked during the semester, or you can use, you can have a look what mark the student got for speaking and writing for the skills test, and put the same mark for the final test. Or you can just analyze the work of the student during the course and put the mark which you think he or she should get. That's a bit more challenging with skills test, so we'll have a look at it. Oh, okay. So we've discussed it. Mhm. Yeah, so according to their work during the semester, according to their marks for short tests, probably not, because they don't have speaking and writing part. Yeah, but skills test can help us. Mhm. As much as they that's a good answer, but if we give our students as much time as they might need, it can be longer than our lesson, but because we still need to have like all parts of the test in the lesson. So we have the online part, but we need to have enough time also to have speaking and writing. So then 30, 40 minutes, that is fine. Yeah, so if you spend 40 minutes on the online test, then you will have enough time for your students to complete speaking and writing. Oh, okay, so this question is hard, but it actually depends on the size of your group. Like, okay, so 40 minutes might be a bit too much because yeah, we need to have all parts of the test in the lesson, but to also ideally we need to have a warm up, yeah, just to help our students get ready to the test. We also need to have some extra time to give instructions to our students, to instruct them how they can log into their account, where they can find their test, and how to complete the tasks in the test. So then 40 minutes might be too much. 20, 30 minutes, that is usually okay. So approximately like 40 minutes for the online part, 30 minutes for the speaking and writing, plus 10 more minutes for organizational moments and the warm up. It's a tricky one. Why false? So what else do we have in the lesson except for the final test?
We sometimes like we usually have like warm up activity before the test. So
Mhm. Like not you, we always do that. So we don't start the lesson like, oh, hello guys, let's do the test now. Start. Yeah, so we need to have this warm up because we don't want this experience to be super stressful for them. So we need to manage our timing so that we have this time for the warm up as well. So why do you think this one is false? Or somebody
That's
who
where
chose
we,
false? Mhm. Yeah, Darina.
that's where we can't assess their speaking skills. We need to listen more and then maybe point the mistakes in the end.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So we will have time for feedback. So here we need, we know a lot about error correction now. So here, delayed error correction will be nice. And we will try not to help our students because that is the test. Yeah, so we don't want it to be super stressful, but still, that is the test. And the aim is to assess how well our students can speak, write, and use the language. So as Darina said, we would try to listen to them as much as possible. We would remember all their mistakes or note them down, and we will correct them after. So if students are stuck or if they can't say anything, we can ask some follow-up questions. but directing them a little bit, but not really helping them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 do you think 5 minutes will be enough for one pair for a speaking test? Might be, usually not. 15 minutes, that's fine. And guys, also, yeah, when you think about the timing, so take into account that you will need also a couple of extra minutes during the lesson just for joining breakout rooms with your students and going back to the main session and sending them to breakout rooms, all these things. So then 5-10 minutes for a pair, that's okay. And you can calculate then, okay, you've got 8 students. It means that you've got 4 pairs. So you will need okay, 40 minutes, that's too much. Then 7 minutes for a pair would be okay. Then we will need to make sure that our students finish the online part on time, so that we will be able to have effective next part. Okay, no, actually not. And more than that, they can't even leave the lesson earlier. If they finish the test and I ask you, oh, can I go earlier? Because I'm ready. So we say, no, please don't do it. So we will need to keep them busy and we'll think together with you how. So it means the listening part of the test. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so if there are some technical problems or we can't share sounds for some reason or our internet connection is not stable, in this case, yeah, we can ask our students to listen on their gadgets because they will have this audio in the test. But so that's better to listen all together because so we want to control like how many times we listen to the audio, and we want all our students to start this task at the same time and finish it at the same time. Yes, please do it. Share your screen, show the tasks in the test before students start doing it, and make sure your students understand what exactly they need to do. And guys, also pay students attention to some, like again, potentially problematic things. So for example, they have a task, they need to fill in the gaps in the sentences using the correct word, but there are 2 extra words there and they might skip this information. So make sure you pay their attention to it. So ask them to count how many words they have, how many sentences, and help them understand that there are 2 extra ones. Or for example, if there is a reading task and there is true, false, and not given or no information, also pay their attention to it, like what it is, and that we have 3 options not to do in this task. Wow, okay. Oh, good. Right. So that's what you need to do. And guys, it's very important that you do it during 24 hours after lesson 30, no later. So you know in advance that you will need to write comments to your students. Yeah, you can start doing it earlier because also you need to remember that you will need to do several things, yeah, 24 hours after lesson 30. So just help yourself, start writing those comments earlier. You'll be so grateful to yourself after lesson 30. Yeah, so there is a document which is called Students with Low Results. Yeah, okay, 54. Actually, I think now it's 55 and lower. Or 50. Okay, I will check. I will send this information to you in the follow-up letter. Okay, so experienced teachers know what to do, so we need to download. We won't see the results. In the final test, we will see the result of the final test, but we won't see the results for the whole semester. And to see this result, we would need to download an Excel document, and I will show you how to do it. Okay, so here you can just to choose the true answer. So you all know. So you know that you need to do it, but I'm not sure you know how to do it. Maybe not all of you, but we will do it today. Vadim, good job. And it's Nastya, number 2, and the first one is it Anna? Okay, good. So good job. So now actually you know most of the important information about the test. So what we will do during like the rest of our workshop is summing up this information, processing it, and adding more details. So and now, so during this game, we found out some more information about final tests and final lessons. So we haven't discussed lesson 28 yet, but you can imagine what happens there. And now you will need your worksheet again. 1 second. So now please find your worksheet. I will send the link to the chat to your worksheets once again. So you will see them. And now guys, you will need to look at task 3. So together with your partners, please discuss all questions in task 3. So discuss the questions about lesson 28, 29, and 30. Yeah, so let's take 6 minutes for that. And I'm sending you the link to the worksheet. So if you don't know the answer, that is fine at this point. So you can try to guess, you can try to brainstorm with your partner, and we will discuss them together with you after. So guys, do you need to discuss only questions about lesson 28 and 29?
Yes.
Or also about lesson 30. So yeah, about all sections. Good. Now please join. Okay. So let's discuss it all together. So actually, we will look through the information which will give us answers to most questions which you have discussed with your partners. If still, yeah, after the presentation, after our discussion, you still have some questions or you're not sure about something, okay, then we will spend some time on that as well. And now I want you to be really, really actively involved. So please unmute yourselves and take part in the discussions. So let's try to think together. So actually, let's have a look at it with you, and let's see what happens. So let's start with lesson 28. Guys, your ideas. What happens during lesson 28?
Revision.
Okay, good. So how to make it effective? So let's collect like 3 tips. 3 tips from you before we have a look at the slide.
Choose the topic students have the most problems with.
Wonderful. Fun.
Interactive games.
Yeah, so something the students enjoy. Yeah, also it can be then more effective. One more.
Use similar tasks to the tasks in a test.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. If in the test, so they usually have a multiple choice task. So that's the for the use of language. So we can arrange some multiple choice tasks for our students, like Kahoots or quizzes, for example. Yes, that is similar in format. Guys, you will see the tasks for the final test, so you will be able to look it through before the lesson. But please don't give something too similar to the final test to your students during the revision lesson. Yeah, because that's not fair. Let's look through some ideas. So how to prepare for this lesson? That's a good idea to look through the test. Yeah, and the material which is covered in the test, and include like these topics in your lesson. So make sure you do that. Or just look through like what is checked and think what is the most challenging for my students, like from all these topics, as Vadim said, and work on it more. Yeah, and also, guys, you will have the lesson plan, yeah, for lesson 28, as usual, but so you can be flexible with that, because you know your group better. So that's your lesson 28 with your group. You know them much better than the author of the plan, and usually there are so many tasks in the lesson plan, like for lesson 28, that is rather challenging to have enough time for all of them. So you will need to prioritize your time. Look through the tasks which are given in the plan and think like, okay, so what is the most important for my students? So what will help them most to prepare for the test? Or also, if you think like you look through the tasks and you think, oh, but my students have no problems with that, but I want to use another task. So I want to help them revise some other topics which are difficult for them, or some other skills. Fine, you can do it. If you are not really sure how to do it, you can contact your methodologist, so she can help you, or you can try to be flexible and do it yourself. And also, again, so for example, you see in the lesson plan that there are like so many grammar tasks, but there are no speaking tasks. So speaking, that is like the weakest aspect of your students. Okay, so then skip one grammar task, so think which one might be skippable or shorten, and include one more task that will address the needs of your students more. So here, the main idea is that the needs of our students, so that's the most important thing for us, when we prepare and when we have lesson 28, and we will try our best to take them into account. And where you can find the test. So we will have a document. So we have it. You don't have to scan this QR code now. You will be able to do it later. And I will also send you the link to this document. But now I will show you what it looks like. So it's this document. And here you have one more tab, final test. So you click here and that's it. So you just find the test which you need. So here you are. That is the test. Guys, please keep in mind that you don't have the bottom show answers, yeah, for final tests or for all other tests. So if you want to know the answers to the tasks, you will need to do them yourself. Well, then you will see the results of the student. So the answers are not given in the test itself, but you can see which tasks you've got there. Okay. Fine. So, guys, anything you want to add to lesson 28? Okay, so let's think like some more ideas, what we can do during the lesson and what we have to do. So first of all, prioritize your time very well. So be realistic with the timing while preparing for the lesson. So yeah, and that's important to make this lesson as effective as possible for your students. Also, at this lesson, that's a good idea to tell your students about the test. So just remind them that, okay, guys, at the next lesson, we have a test. So if you work offline, that is a little bit more challenging because we will need to ask our students to take one more gadget with them. Or not just one more, so they need to have a gadget, so they can have a phone or a tablet with them, but we need to tell our students in advance, yeah, at least at lesson 28 about it. And also ask your students to take a charger with them, because there have been like many situations when the battery is flat, no charger, no free charger is in the office, and the students can't complete the test. So if you work online, just tell your students that they will have the test. Ideally, they should have one more gadget. Yeah, so they should have the gadget for Zoom and one more gadget for which they will use to complete the test. So if that's possible, ask your students to do it. Also, if you work offline, then you will have a pizza party during lesson 30. So your administrators, the administrators of your office will tell you more about it. So they will give you the prices for pizza. The students can pay with contracts for the pizza, which the administrators will order for lesson 30. So during lesson 28, you can start collecting those contracts. If you work online, you can also have pizza during your lesson 30, but so the format is a bit different. And also, if a student tells you, yeah, because often they do, so they tell you like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't be during lesson 29. So you can tell your students that the test will be available for them. So they will see this test on Migrant Country. So even if they don't join the lesson or if they don't come to the lesson, anyway, so if they have access to the internet during the time of your lesson, so they can open this test and they can complete it anyway. Yeah, so for example, sometimes students say that, okay, they will be on a trip, so they can't join the lesson, but they have access to the internet and they can log into Migrant Country, they can complete this test. Okay. So actually, this is, so tell me about lesson 29. What happens during lesson 29 and what is the structure of it? Okay, so unmute yourselves, help me. Let's discuss. Mm-hmm.
But first we have some warm-up exercise.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that is right. But we've got here more information. Actually, how to prepare for that? Now you know where you can find the test. So please, before lesson 29, check the audio. So if you work offline, then come to the office a bit earlier and check the sound. So make sure your students will be able to hear the sound well, and you will have no problems with that. So if you work online, make sure you can share your screen with the sound, and also just look at the test before the lesson and try to play this audio. So make sure the quality is good. It is the audio which you need. If you notice any mistakes, so you can text the methodologist, so we will correct them. Then also prepare a quick warm-up. So usually a warm-up task is given in the lesson plan, but for example, again, you want to revise something just before the test. You want to have like one more revision task on a particular topic, which your students will need during the test, and they're struggling with that. So then you can replace the warm-up which is given and prepare one more like very short revision task for your students. So that is fine, be flexible. And guys, be ready that there will be some students who will finish the test, so who can finish the test earlier than others. And like about 15 minutes till the end of the lesson, they will tell you, I'm ready, can I go home? And they can't. So we can't let them go. So then we need to be ready for the situation, and we need to think what we can do with them. Okay, so we will discuss some ideas here. So you know the stages of the lesson. So that's a quick warm-up and revision. So it can be like one task, a short one. Online part, speaking plus writing, fun tasks, and contracts for pizza if you work offline. So you continue collecting contracts for pizza. If you work online, you will need to tell your students that at the next lesson, they can bring some food with them or some drinks, or also in their self-study number 30, so self-study before lesson 30, they will have a video. So it's a recipe or a tutorial, like how to cook a very simple pizza. So it's really simple. It's not actually pizza. It's kind of a sandwich. And kids can do it with or without their parents. So you can tell also, you should tell your students about it. So you should tell them that, okay, you will have a recipe. If you want, please cook this pizza. We will eat it together with you. Or you can ask your parents, you can take some other food. And also that would be super great if you yourself could cook this pizza and eat it together with your students, or just take some snacks. Students usually like it. And time for fast finishers. So it can be anything. We just want them to give to get more practice and be busy with something. So we can play Quizlet. But yeah, of course, we can't play Quizlet live. Oh, we can if we have several fast finishers. Yeah, if we have one fast finisher, so we can't play Quizlet live, but we can send the link to a set of cards, for example. Yeah, and we can ask the student to play a matching game, so the matching mode. And then, for example, he or she can send you a screenshot of the results. Yeah, and you can add more contracts. Or you can even promise to add +1 point for the speaking part if the student completes some extra tasks. The same with Kahoot. It can be a Kahoot challenge. Guys, have you ever tried? So please raise your hands if you have ever tried playing Kahoot, but not Kahoot Live, but a challenge, like assign some tasks to students. Nobody? Oh, okay. So that's a great thing. There is a button there, so the option called assign. You just click assign this task. You will get the link for this task. You can send this link to your students and they can play this game individually. So they don't need to wait for others. They don't need other players. They don't need you to start the game. They can, so that's kind of similar to quizzes, but still a bit different. So they will see the same tasks. The format will be the same, but they will be able to play individually. And after the game, you will see the report on their results. Yeah, so you will see their results. Video tasks. Guys, raise your hands if you have ever used ISL collective video tasks, video worksheets. Okay, I guess I gave you the link for that. No, okay, I will send it again. So this one is cool. Okay, I guess I've got an example here. No, okay, I'll show it to you a bit later. So it's cool because there is a video. Yeah, they can be. So there are video tasks for different topics. So you can just sort for a topic which you need. Let it be like fast, simple, and you can choose the level of your students. And they offer you some videos from cartoons or films or just whatever. So, and the video is playing, then it stops and there is a task on the screen. So the students will need to complete a task. It can be a multiple choice task, or it can be the task like type the word which you hear to practice this topic. And only when they complete this task correctly, the video continues and they watch, and then another task. Yeah, so you can choose some video tasks on the topics which you study with your students, and it can be a good task for fast finishers. Okay, so word storage, crossword, you know all about it. That's a good thing. So the thing which I like doing is to ask my students to create a Kahoot for lesson 30. It can be about anything, so anything what they like, what they're interested in, or it can be about our group. So as they want. And of course, yeah, if they prepare their own Kahoot, they get plus a lot of countries. I usually give plus 10, I guess, so that's fine. But that's cool, so they prepare their own game and we play it at the next lesson. Or for kids, like the laziest thing the teacher can do, ask your young learners to make an illustration for their writing and send it to you. And you will give them plus 1 more point for their writing part. Can be also fun. So it is fun, but it is also useful because, so anyway, so they need to read their text once again. So while they're reading, they're checking it, then they try to make a picture. So that's in terms of learning the language, also a useful task for them. So guys, if you have any other ideas of activities for fast finishers, please tell us. Or you can use the chat. Yeah, if you remember something a bit later, please tell us or put to the chat, so we will collect those ideas. And so where we will see test results. Guys, a common mistake here is that we go to, yeah, as usual. So here we have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and we go to lesson 29, we go to Otinki, and there is nothing there. That's because we need to go to the tab finalny test. And that's it. So here you will see the marks of your students. That's the same as for skills test. In the first column, you will see the results for the online part. In the second column, you will need to put the mark for writing and for speaking. Good, so that's lesson 29. So what do you need to do after lesson 29 and like before lesson, between lesson 29 and lesson 30?
To provide
Yeah,
feedback on test.
Okay, anything else?
Prepare some activity for feedback.
Of course. Yeah, so that's very important. Okay, so actually, yeah, so that's the most important thing. So first of all, you'll need to check the test of your students. And you will need to look through the online part of their test and also offline. So guys, you will see, so the results for the online part will be uploaded automatically. Yeah, you will just see them on CRM, but click on this eye and have a look at the answers of your students, because sometimes there can be some technical mistakes. And if you notice anything like this, just add some more points for your students. Yeah, so let's imagine a situation like, for example, the result is very good. Yeah, so the student has a high result, but there are some mistakes, like he or she had a task, so they need to type the word, but the first letter is given, so they don't need to type the first letter. But the student like forgot about it, and for one word, he or she typed the first letter like twice, but the answer is correct. So in this case, it is possible to add 1 more point for the student, like for this task. Or if just they had to use the capital letter, but they used the not the capital letter, and the answer then is wrong because of it. So that's okay. So in this case, we can add some more points manually to our students. Also, guys, to see the results for the semester, you will need to look through the results on CRM of your students for short tests and skills tests. And it's very important to go to the tab Otinki for skills test. And then, guys, here just some a bit confusing information, but important. So let's try to remember it. About skills test. So you will need to make sure that everything is correct, that you have all marks which you need to have, which your students need to have for the skills test. So if a student was present during the skills test, this student needs to have the mark for writing and speaking, yeah, of the skills test. If your student was present during the skills test, but he or she didn't send the writing part for you, yeah, for example, anyway, you need to put this mark. Or if your student was present in the lesson, he or she has the online part, but he or she left earlier and didn't get enough time, so didn't have enough time to do the speaking part. Anyway, you put this mark. So all students who were present during the skills test need to have the mark for writing and speaking for this test. Then, so it's getting more complicated here. If the student was absent during the skills test, but he or she completed the online part of the test, you need to put the mark for speaking and writing, like automatically. So the idea here is that all students who were present during the skills test should get the mark for writing and speaking, and all students who have completed the online part of the test also need to have this mark. So you will get this presentation, you'll be able to look it through once again. Then if a student was absent and doesn't have the mark for the online part, don't put the mark for writing and speaking. So this is important because it can influence the final result of the students a lot. So let's try to stick to this algorithm. Yeah, and also you will need to check writing and speaking, of course. And you discussed like the criteria which we will use. Yeah, I could hear you. That was correct. Yeah, so you know what you are talking about. Also, if you need more help with the criteria, then in the folder with the materials, you will get the file with the writing task for your students. So it will be called a final test writing or final writing. And the first page, so the first on the first page, you can find like this information about each criterion which you will use to assess your students. And also when you check the writings of your students, so at the bottom you will see, so that's speaking and that's for writing. Yeah, on the bottom you will see a table with different criteria, and you will need to put marks for each of them to your students. So please use this table. It will make your life easier, guys. And I've got here a question. For example, you check the work of your students, so their level is B1, and you see no mistakes. So that's a wonderful writing. But so no words from this semester are used. The vocabulary is very simple, and the grammar is just present simple everywhere, but no mistakes. So will you put 10 for this student? So which criterion is like, so we will give like lower points for which criterion?
Level appropriacy?
Yeah, so exactly. Or for example, it's an informal, okay, let it be a semi-formal, let it be formal, okay, for a formal email. All is right, all is wonderful, but so there is no, so there are no greetings, not correct ending of the letter, and only one paragraph, but no mistakes. all is good. So which criterion is?
Structure.
Yeah, so that's about structure. So if they need to, that's about the format. Yeah, if they need to write an informal email, it should be an email and it should be informal. If they need to write a letter, it should be a letter. So they should have greetings, they should have the correct ending, signing off, etc. So be attentive, because we are not checking just only grammar and spelling. Yeah, it's not only about mistakes made, but that's also about appropriacy, structure, and content. So it should make sense what they write. Yeah, that's about speaking. So that's actually very similar. Okay. So then let's go on. And also, the results. So how we can find the results for our students for this semester. Guys, you will see your group here, and there is this document. So can you see it well on my screen now, or should I make it bigger?
No, we can see.
Good.
Okay, so guys, you just click on it, but please do it after you check whether you have all marks for your students for the skills test and also for the final test. So do it after you have all marks on CRM. So then you download this document. So you can do it early as well. You can do it before if you are curious and want to try, want to see what it looks like. But then, yeah, make sure you do it again after you update the information on CRM. And here, guys, you will have 2 tabs. So you need to go to the tab «Відвідування та оцінки». You will see the list of your students. And in this table, you will see the results of all their tests. Here, next to the student, you will see 2 numbers. So the first number is their final result. The second number is the result of their final test. Here also, so here only 49 because so this screenshot was taken before the final test. And here also there is a letter. So A, B, C, or D. Guys, what do you think? If a student has, so which letters, which marks should a student get to go to the next course, like to pass the test successfully?
A,
And
C.
And C is also good. So D is no D. It means lower than 55 or 54 points. So that's not enough. If they have more, if they have A, B, or C, that's okay. So they can go to the next level. But guys, please be kind. And if you see that, okay, your student has 54.7 points for the course, please add 1 more point somewhere. It can be like, I don't know, the speaking or the writing part of the final test or any other test. So if they just need plus 1 more point to pass the test successfully or like complete the course successfully, please add it. Then you don't need to add the students to the document students with low results. And also about this certificate. So we will need to generate these certificates for our students. And for this reason, so we need to go to Studente. And next to each student, we will see the word certificate. Then, guys, you can click on this eye and you will see it. So you will see a preview. You will see what it looks like. If you can't generate the certificate, it says error, you can't do it. It means that your student does not have enough points for this course. It means like 54, 55 and lower. So this certificate can be generated only if a student has 55 and more points for the semester. Then if you see that all is correct, so if, first of all, if you see that, so you click on this eye, you see that the spelling of the name or surname is not correct. Then you can change it, and you, in this case, yeah, you can type. So the name and the surname with the correct spelling here, and it will be changed automatically in the certificate. If all is good, please just click here, so generate, and generate it, and that's it. And then the student will be able to see the certificate on Migrant Country. Because if you don't click it, the students won't see the certificate. They will see the results, but they won't see the certificate itself. Okay, yeah, and here is the certificate, so it looks like that. And if we work offline, yeah, guys, you will need to complete such certificates in writing. So the administrators will give you the template for the certificate, but you will need to add all this information yourself. But you can open the certificate on CRM and just copy paste. So just copy the information from here to your paper certificate. You don't have to calculate it yourself. And guys, what do we do with students who were absent? Do we put any marks? Yeah, of course. So we put marks for the offline part for all students. If a student has more than 54 or 55 points, fine. So the course is completed successfully. Congratulations. Then less than 55, 54 points, we add the student to the students with low results. So you will get this document, and please make sure you complete it fast enough. Like, okay, so you can do it not after lesson 29, after lesson 30, so that's fine. But please do it during 24 hours after lesson 30. And if a student has like this number of points, please add one more point. So it won't change anything, but it will be important for the student. And as you said, we'll also prepare test feedback. So guys, any ideas? How can we give feedback to our students for reading and for listening? So for example, your students have a lot of mistakes in the reading part and you really want to work on them. So what tools we can use for that? So okay, let's ask somebody. Let it be Yulia. So Yulia, what do you think? Which tools would you use to give feedback for reading and listening?
Honestly saying, I have no idea.
Okay, if we can help. Okay, so for example, like the first thing which comes to my mind, that's Bamboozle. We can add some parts of the text, like some sentences or a paragraph which gives an answer to a question. We can add this question and we can add the answer. So we give limited time for our students to think and find the proof. So that's a detailed reading task, but in a fun way. So if you really want to have feedback for this part of the test and you feel that it is needed, okay, you can use this tool, or you can think of some more ideas, of course. Yeah, so that's writing, speaking, so that's easy. Bamboozle, of course. Chat race, we've discussed it with you. Word wall, everybody loves it. So Jeopardy, guys, raise your hand if you have ever played Jeopardy with your students. No, oh, so that's a cool game. You a bit later, I'll show you an example. But so that is the game where we see, so it's like a quiz and we see different categories. Like it can be category grammar, vocabulary, speaking and writing. Yeah, and our students choose the category and the number of the task they want to get. It's similar to Bamboozle. We open, they complete the task, they earn some points. So you will see an example, it will be clear for you. So to work with mistakes for writing and speaking, Jeopardy is a very, very good option. There is a wonderful online tool which you can use. I will send you the link to that. And there are also templates on PowerPoint for PowerPoint presentations. I will share one with you, which you can use to create your own Jeopardy games. They are super fun, long and interesting. Vocabulary and grammar, okay, easy, we know what to do. Kahoot, basketball for offline lessons. Quizzes, Bamboozle, Jeopardy. Or it can be also a quest. Guys, any ideas? Like, can we do a quest online? Darina, how? You say yes?
Sorry?
You said yes. You showed. So, what are your ideas of an online quest?
Yeah, so we definitely can check this with, for example, with Kahoot, and then give feedback on what was wrong.
That's okay. So that's a Kahoot game. Fine. Also, there is an example. So, okay. It doesn't show. Yeah, so that's an example of on online quest which I used with my students. It was during the final lesson, and it can be for revision or it can be a fun task as well. So it can be a revision task or a fun task for the final lesson. And here, like for example, each team, so in this case, each team has their own page, so their own slide. So they type their name here and they have the tasks. So they have the QR code for the task and they have like the instruction, what they need to do with this task. They also have the link. So here using Jamboard, we can't insert links, but we can teach our students how to copy it and paste to the browser, or they can just use the QR code. So they need to complete the tasks, and also sometimes they need to send the screenshots, sometimes they need to do something else. And they have limited time for that. So each team gets a task. Yeah, so this page, so they can decorate it as you see with some pictures and some drawings, and they have 20 minutes to complete as many tasks and earn as many points as it is possible. Then we check, we calculate, and we choose who is the winner. Again, so it can be done as a revision task as well, or just a fun task with some interesting activities for your students. Okay, so that's about feedback. And now we're moving to lesson 30, and we'll have a look at some fun tasks which we can have with our students. And before we do that, I want you to share your ideas. So I will send you the link to this board, to the chat. So now please join it and add your ideas here. So what fun activities, what fun tasks we can do with our students during the final lesson? Yeah, so here we have like two columns, young learners and teens. And you can add some stickers, for example, or you can use text, or you can just write. For example, Kahoot can be done for both. Okay, let's just take 1 minute to share the ideas. Mhm. Okay, so 30 more seconds. Let's add more ideas. What other fun things we can do except for Kahoot and Bamboozle? PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Yeah, because unfortunately we can't play Kahoot during the whole lesson with our students. But we can play a couple of them, of course. Fine. Okay, thank you. So you will be able to add more ideas if you have later. So Netflix, I really like this idea, but guys, that's not a good idea to watch just a film during the whole lesson. But if we take some parts of it and we discuss them after, or there is a task related to that, that's fine. That's good. Or they might be some cartoons as well. Yeah, so I will share some more ideas. Okay. So for example, we can use Kahoot, quizzes, anything, and that's cool to create. So you can ask your students, or you can create it yourself. So that's a game about your group. So if you feel inspired, you have some free time for that, you can do it. So I'm sure your students will be super happy and surprised if you do that. Or again, you can ask your students to prepare some games for the final lesson, and you can promise them to give more countries, for example. Or it can be a scavenger hunt. So we'll have a look at one of them. It can be a photo quest. So that's also a scavenger hunt. A Jeopardy we have discussed. Guys, we can also do crafts with our students, especially if we work offline, but we need to be very careful with the scissors and other things which our students might need. Board games, fine. So if you find some really fun, interesting games, you can use them. Also, a lot of students like the game Who Am I? Great, we can do it. And there is also a nice games by fall. Guys, who has tried this? So if you haven't played this game with your students yet, then you can try. So you will get the link to that. It's very similar to Mafia, but that's a bit different. And we can practice asking questions very nicely using this game. So this one is really fun. Cartoons. We can also play Alias, Taboo. We can have fun Kahoots. So here are just some examples. So some examples of fun Bamboozle games. Yeah, so just for example, the students need to make some moves, or it's a scavenger hunt quest. You can just type scavenger hunt on Bamboozle, and you will find some ideas like that. So just students see some tasks and they need to complete them. Oh, you can create it yourself, or you can find some ready-made games or some fun board games. This one is not really beautiful, so you can use some online tools if you teach online. But there are like some fun tasks here, like they need to move, they need to do something. So games which involve movement are usually exciting. And yeah, so a photo quest, so it can be a scavenger hunt task, or you can just give our students some tasks, or a list of like, for example, they have a list of things which they need to find at home and take photos with. You put them in groups. They have like 15 minutes to do as many of them as they can. They send these photos to you. You count, you check, and you give points to your students. So here you can see some examples from my lessons, online lessons, and it was super exciting for students. They really wanted to send those pictures. You can ask your students find and show whatever in the camera. So young learners are really, really excited. And that's an example. So it's the Spyfall game, which I told you about. So you will get the link. You can read the rules on the website. And if you don't know what to do with your teens and you haven't tried this game with them yet, so I really recommend, especially for higher levels, B1, B2, it can be really, really interesting. And there is also a nice website for a Taboo game. So it's similar to Alias, but for me, like a bit more interesting. So you can use this website to create some set of cards. So that's wonderful for offline lessons. So you will see also the link to this one. Okay. Good. Yeah, and we know about the certificates. And now, guys, the last thing which we will do very quickly, and then we will be free. So we will have a look at some more examples of fun tasks for the last lesson. And please go to task 4 in your worksheet. Now, yeah, you will work again in groups of 3. So please choose together with your partners who will open which game. So in your breakout room, please decide who opens this Kahoot game, who opens Jeopardy, who opens Scavenger Hunt. Then, so when you decide who will do what, please take 1 minute to look it through and be ready to answer these questions. So when you're ready, please discuss the questions with your partners. So let's have just 5 minutes for that, just to have a quick look. Okay, so let's join. Okay. So I could see there was some confusion with how to play this game, the Jeopardy game. Guys, you just you need to choose a slideshow. So your students tell you which category and which number they use. You just click on it, and you get this task. Then you get the answer. Then you click on this house, and you continue. But the only thing here is that you need to remember. So you need to note down somewhere which questions are used already, yeah, so that we don't open them twice. I usually just do it on paper, I draw it and cross out what is used. And that's it. So you can use this template for your students. So you can use other tasks, but the animation, like all settings are correct. So you can just download it to your gadget, delete what you've got here and add something else. So that's how it works. Okay, good. So guys, any ideas? So about the last one, the scavenger hunt. So what do you think, which level it's suitable for? Like the photo quest.
We actually didn't have a chance to get to the last one.
Okay, so then you will have a chance to do it at home. So would you like to use any of the tasks which we discussed with you today in your lesson?
For sure.
Okay. Great. So guys, thanks a lot for your active work today. Then on Monday, I will send you the follow-up letter with all the links, all the tasks, and a lot of good things. So make sure you look it through. And if you have any questions about the final test, so you can also text me. So you can reply to the email which I send you, and I will be happy to help you. So I'm sure you'll have no problems with them. And good luck. So thanks a lot and have a good evening. So goodbye. We can be free.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Have a good evening.
Nice evening.
Thank you.